Everyone knows Athens as the birthplace of democracy, philosophy, and culture. But what most people forget is that Athens also became the birthplace of something else: financial collapse. Imagine this: a city-state at the peak of its power, overflowing with silver from mines and tributes, ruling the seas with the strongest navy in the world. Yet within a single generation, Athens was bankrupt. Its democracy was corrupted. Its empire was gone. So how did the richest, most educated society of its time destroy itself financially? And more importantly, are we making the same mistakes today? To understand the financial downfall, we need to see Athens at its peak. The 5th century BCE, Pericles leads the city into its golden age. Philosophy flourishes. Democracy expands. Trade pours wealth into the Piraeus harbor. But this wasn't just cultural brilliance. Athens had real financial power. The silver mines at Laurium, combined with tribute payments from the Delian League, an alliance of city-states supposedly meant to defend against Persia, turned Athens into the banker of Greece. The money built the Parthenon. It funded festivals. It even paid ordinary citizens to participate in democracy. Athens was not just rich. It was the world's first consumer democracy where politics ran on payouts. But beneath the marble and philosophy, a darker story was taking shape. Athens' wealth was tied to empire, and empire breeds enemies. Sparta, Athens' great rival, feared this rising power. Tensions boiled into the Peloponnesian War, a conflict that would last nearly 3 decades. Here's the financial twist: wars are expensive. Athens had the navy, but navies cost silver. Triremes had to be built, manned, and maintained. Soldiers had to be paid. Mercenaries were hired. Tribute was squeezed harder and harder from subject states. Athens, once rich, began to live paycheck to paycheck, financing endless war through borrowing, confiscation, and inflation. The breaking point came quickly. First, the plague. In 430 BCE, disease swept through overcrowded Athens, killing perhaps 1/3 of its population, including Pericles himself. Not only lives, but taxpayers were lost. Then came the Sicilian expedition. Athens sent a massive fleet to conquer Sicily. It ended in total disaster. Ships sunk, soldiers slaughtered, treasure gone. By the later years of the war, Athens was broke. Temples were stripped of gold. Emergency property taxes were imposed. Even the sacred reserve fund of the goddess Athena, the emergency trust fund of the city, was spent. This wasn't just a financial collapse. It was a collapse of faith. Citizens stopped believing their democracy could protect them. And when belief dies, so does the system. Athens lost not just its empire, but its democracy. By the end of the war, Athens had endured coups, oligarchic takeovers, and political assassinations. Poverty spread. Ordinary citizens turned desperate. Politicians promised quick fixes but delivered tyranny. The war ended in 404 BCE with total defeat. The Spartan blockade starved Athens into surrender. The once great city was forced to pull down its walls and hand over its fleet. Its democracy, once paid for by empire silver, was bankrupt, both financially and morally. If this sounds familiar, it should. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Like Athens, modern democracies fund themselves with borrowed money, military spending, and promises to citizens. Consider this: the US spends more on its military than the next 10 nations combined. Inflation quietly eats away savings. National debts rise every year. And like Athens, democracies today often pay citizens, not with silver, but with benefits, subsidies, and entitlements. The question is, can modern democracies avoid Athens' fate? Or are we watching the same movie with different actors? So what can we learn from Athens' financial downfall? 3 takeaways stand out. Wealth built on war is fragile. A nation that funds itself through conflict risks destroying the very foundation of its prosperity. Democracy depends on financial trust. Once the money system collapses, citizens lose faith, and democracy with it. History warns us about debt and hubris. Athens believed it could spend forever, but no empire, ancient or modern, can escape the math. Athens fell because it tried to buy eternal power with temporary silver. The question is, will we repeat that mistake? Let me know in the comments. Do you think modern democracies are heading toward the same fate as Athens? And if you want to understand how money, history, and psychology collide, subscribe to Wealth Psychology, because the past is never dead, it's not even past.